position of the Attorney General of Malaysia, the Chief Justice, and also AIAC Director. Well, our legal system is very similar to Singapore. And the Attorney General, it is a bit difficult to just remove them without the consent or the support of the king, our Ago, right? So, but when the government came, the new government came into position, came into power, what happened was the AG was asked to take leave. That we can ask him to do, but we cannot remove him. The new government can't remove him. So I think after convincing the king, he was officially removed. As for the Chief Justice can't be removed because he is the pillar of the judiciary, right? But after some talking and whatnot, he resigned. His controversy issue was he went beyond the age of retirement. In Malaysia, the Chief Justice cannot go past the age of 66. So there is a healthy rotation of Chief Justices. Okay, so during that time, I suppose he was kept there during the election time. Why is his role quite important was the old government needs to have a pro-government Chief Justice while he's there, because if there's any problem with the election, there will be an election petition filed in the courts. If any complaint about the procedure of election, they will go to the courts to be filed there. So it is, by tradition, you have to put someone, a pro-government guy there. And then at the time, the old government do not have many choices. So he was forcibly put there for a while, but after the new government came into place, he just resigned and let the new Chief Justice take over. Now, there's a new interesting development in AIAC Director. He has just recently resigned, I think, last 2 weeks, or last week. Oh, AIAC is ASEAN International Arbitration Center. It is just like Singapore International Arbitration Center. So this is very important to promote business. Usually if Singaporeans want to go to do business in Malaysia, or Malaysians want to go to Singapore to do business, we still use the courts. Why? Because both countries has this reciprocal enforcement agreement. Means that if you got the judgment in Malaysia, I can go and enforce in Singapore. So it's like it's quite convenient unless you want to run to another country. But for arbitration, it's a backbone to a lot of businesses, international business. We ask them to come to Malaysia to trade because we have a system, arbitration center, that is independent of the courts. So recently he has resigned because there was allegations of the impropriety in handling some of the funds that the grants that the old government gave him to renovate the place. So because of this, to maintain the sanctity of the center, when there's such an allegation, what the director did, Dr. Sundradi, was he resigned so that this arbitration center can be kept free from being politicized. Yeah. So he sacrificed himself and he says that okay, let this center be free from any politics and whatnot, so that the commercial people still have the confidence if they want to come to Malaysia and to do trading. If they want to choose not to use the courts, they still can use the arbitration center, just like SIAC, Singapore International Arbitration Center, or Hong Kong Arbitration Center. So this is one key development I see from the point of law that I think everyone should know. Why do I share with you this is to to tell you that the rule of law in Malaysia is there. We have a set of rules and procedures that you are able to challenge the Attorney General, you are able to challenge the Chief Justice, or you are able to investigate into things because the law is there. So when in China at the time they say that, wow, the new government took over and there's so many of it's like the new killing of the old. I say no, that's not the case, because I say, have you heard about somebody suing your president in China? I say no, in China you can't, but in Malaysia, anyone can file a suit against the Prime Minister, the ex-Prime Minister Najib, because there's a rule of law. The law allows us to file the case. Can the court hear it? Yes, it can be filed. Can be. Whether it goes through or not is another question. It depends on evidence, it depends on how good the lawyers are, depends on some people that ask me, is the judge tainted or whatever. All depends, but everyone must have access to justice. Right? So when I was in my roadshow in China and Shanghai, I said, well, in Malaysia you can sue the Prime Minister, you can sue the Chief Justice, you can sue the AG. So that's rule of law for you. That's justice for us. So that's why I say, you as a businessman don't have to worry. Your interest is protected. We treat local investor and foreign investor the same. There's no double treatment. As long as your investment is in Malaysia, it's protected by the same set of laws. So what happened? The General, he was removed. This is the guy. He was clear in defending what the wrongdoing about the 1MDB scandal. I'm sure you guys heard about 1MDB, right? It seems like they suggest that some of the money went through Singapore. So this is our new guy, Tommy Thomas. He was brought into, he's a lawyer, and he's brought in to replace the AG. And he's a commercial lawyer. So why I'm showing you the pictures, so that you are the new businesses or new businessmen, you'll be very confident. I'm confident to tell you that we have a very friendly, commercial friendly AG. Okay, that's the old Chief Justice. Basically, he stepped down on July 31st, right? And this is the present one. First time ever, Chief Justice Tan Sri Richard Marajung from Sabah was chosen. Usually this Chief Justice has always been reserved for Peninsula, but it never put anyone from Sabah. So first time Sabahan got a very top post. And more importantly, he's Christian. Okay? So usually top posts are have to be filled by Muslim. Okay, because of the ceremonial needs. Because sometimes when they have to be called to meet the king at that time, there will be ceremony and there will be prayers before they start. So it is convenient to put a Muslim. But our new government says at this moment he would be the best choice to be selected. Okay, we have to see what will happen. So this is the guy. And that's the new one, Vinaya. So because it's still under investigation, so now I'll just move on. Goods and Services Tax 2014. Okay, what happened is after it has been, the new government took over, GST has been replaced by SST. I think our panel speaker will tell you more about accounting better than me. But basically now some are zero. You don't have to pay. And many items has been, even though SST is reintroduced, SST is nothing new. It has been there since long time ago. 6%, well, some people say, why 6%, 10%, still taxing. But you should ask for tax. They will tell you certain category are taken off. Okay, despite the fact that SST is still there, but it has been taken off. Some items are not taxable, right? Some has been repealed. The process. So if you do come to Malaysia, please look into the tax regime and custom tariff. And it has been one layer of tax instead of it used to be tax from 1, 2, 3 multiple layers. Now it's only one time. So it's easier management, no complicated accounting. But I'll leave it to the accountant to tell you. I'm just telling you the law. SST is there. So as far as legal practitioner is concerned, it's still the same. I still have to charge you 6%. Right? So what happened is there was sales tax imposed on the manufacturing, and then there's still for service tax imposed of F&B. I think for F&B it has been increased from 500,000 ringgit into 1 million. So for the smaller F&B, as long as your sales is less than 1 million per ringgit per year, then you're okay. You don't have to charge the 5 or 10. So you can have multiple companies and do less than 1 million a year, then you will try it, right? That's my guess. Okay. On the blue one is the new one. One thing you need to know about is when you import and export on goods, on imported goods, please double check. Some items has been lifted, exempted, some are still there. Okay. So what we now the thing is we are passing back the tax back to the manufacturing instead of passing it down to the users, consumer. Okay, we hope that this will boost up the trading in Malaysia. Of course, the Free Zone Act and the Custom Act, this is the one that any traders should be aware of. It basically says that the GST is no longer there, so the new service tax is there. They have made it clarify all which are the items to avoid any overlap. Okay. So another thing that I want to highlight is about the budget 2019, real property gain tax. Real property gain tax has been increased is to avoid speculation of properties, right? So if you want to buy anything in Malaysia, make sure you have to pay the 5 or 10% on your RPGD, any profits that you make. That's unless you want to keep it for 5 years. After 5 years, you can dispose of it. This is avoid speculation. Stamp duty has been also increased from to 4% from 3%. So if you want to transfer any property, do it this year. 1st January is 4%. 1% is a big amount if for any property over 1 million and above, 2 million above is quite high, right? And then we also introduced for first-time house buyers their exemptions as well from 300,000 to 1 million. So we hope that for the first half year in 2019, there will be a lot of people buy and sell property. But I would say it will be those property below 1 million, right? So it's for the to boost up the second-hand market of houses in Malaysia for next year. So if you want to ride on this, is just for next year, the first 6 months. We will expect to see a lot of transaction. In fact, we are also rushing a lot of SMPs so that they will have this stamp duty exemptions. Okay. Okay. talk about is abolishment of death penalty. It has always been the hoo-ha about Malaysia and Singapore. Malaysia and Singapore, by tradition, we have been always saying that this should be kept because of the drugs. Okay, we have been always categorized by a lot of international institutions saying that we are the hub. Because we have Asia or Scoot, we have been used as a hub for death mule, those drugs mule to travel around and whatnot. So, but however, Malaysian has, because of the new government, they have promised in their manifesto, if they are elected, they will take away this death penalty. And when the Minister of Law was tasked to do this, he found out that, well, it's not an easy law. It's not just then goes off the next day. He has to engage with a lot of stakeholders, the enforcement agencies, and he has to find out which of the, I think there's 30 over offenses that he needs to seek from the police, the custom, or whatever, Department of Immigration, of whether it's proper and whether it's okay to remove that or not. Okay, these are the sample of sections. Malaysia, we try to, anything to do with arms, guns, death penalty, drugs, death penalty. Somebody died, death penalty. Rape, death penalty. So these are the traditional, we are always trying to discourage. Also kidnapping.
Hello. I think something I said depends on Okay. So I don't know whether Singapore will follow through or not. So I have experts here from Singapore. I invite them maybe to join Malaysia to abolish death penalty. But of course, nowadays, these few months, there's recently some cases. There are feedback from the public. They still want to keep the death penalty, and whether our Minister of Law will be able successful to repeal this or not, we have to see. One thing interesting about our new government, we have majority. We have majority, but we don't have 2/3. They don't have 2/3. 2/3 means it's 75%. He can bulldoze anytime. But now he only has something higher than a majority, right? So he has to also gather some supports from the opposition in certain things. So which is good, I think, which is healthy. At least in the parliament, we see that now they are really arguing and talking about laws and whatnot. Okay, but since October, there is a moratorium on all executions. So we have yet, I think they are trying to push for the abolishment this year or next year. Okay. These are the reasons why they disagree and agree. But I maybe I'll ask the organizer to share my PPT. You can have a look at it in details. I would like to engage you guys if you have more questions to ask. I think that would be more interesting rather than I talk alone.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ricky, for the enriching sharing. We have arrived at the Q&A session, and can we have some questions from the floor for Dr. Ricky? Before you post your questions, can you please state your name and your organization? Yeah.
Oh, no mic.
Yeah, so apparently the batteries are dead. Let's see.
I can speak loudly, it's fine.
Yes.
I'm Hansel from Black Lion Cafe. I'm launching a cryptocurrency token in Singapore due to the regulation. So in view of the new change of government, do you see
I think on blockchain is something very new to our lawmakers, because you must understand our lawmakers overnight they all from opposition now they all move on, become the men in power, and they are learning. They are still learning how to become leaders. Can you imagine that these 20 over ministers, they walk into the office, they have the employees from the old government. Some, they are genuine to the government. Some still have pity for the old government, right? So that's why I say in Malaysia, I told a lot of my Chinese counterparts, the Chinese authorities, I say, don't worry. Why don't worry? Because we also don't know what to do. Don't worry. We are also learning. Because when they go before the king, the time to, when they go to parliament sitting, right? There's always a door for the government, and there's the door for the opposition. They are still using the opposition door. So a lot of changes they are still learning, and on this cryptocurrency, there has been called by one of the member of parliament to legalize this. I think there has been called, but whether it works or not, or whether the new cabinet will be able to appreciate what is this, it takes some time. I would think it will take some time. Of course, nowadays in Malaysia there has been a lot of cases involving Macau, China, Taiwan, cross-border MLM, crypto, whatever we call it, but it's still, there's no law now to really prosecute, to control. And we find it a problem. We have clients from Malaysia who went to China, lost money, make money. We have Chinese client came to Malaysia, lost money, make money. Okay, as long as the Chinese saying, you run fast enough, then you make, right? But anyway, like I say, in Malaysian perspective, look into the Bank Negara listing. There are companies who has been blacklisted, meaning that they put out a warning to say that please be careful. But Bank Negara, or rather I would say Malaysia Bank Negara, cannot act because as of today there are no laws to prosecute. Okay, it is difficult to prosecute because lack of evidence, lack of complaints. All the time we see people complain in media in China, okay, about medias in Malaysia, whatever. But the problem is you need to lodge a report with the Malaysian authority, mostly the police. You lodge a complaint, then the police will ask you what happened. Then they say, I paid the money. How you paid? We asked the underground. We asked the underground to TT the money to China. Then the police say, how can I help you? Right? Well, how come you TT the money to underground, change money changer to China? How can I help you? If you come and tell me who's your money changer, the first thing they'll do is arrest the fellow. So this is real life scenario that we see that I'm sharing with you. Cryptocurrency cannot be there yet unless all these are eradicated. Of course, you hear about Alibaba in Malaysia, digital free zone, right? And we have started. I don't know WeChat Pay. Have you started in Singapore? WeChat Pay. Yeah, Alipay. Alipay is tied to your credit card, correct? In Malaysia, it's tied to credit card. It's not tied to debit card. How Singapore?
I'm not used Alipay.
Yeah, because why I say this is because if they tie to a credit card, they are still using the Visa Master mechanism. They are not creating something new. They just change from Visa Master in front. They put Alipay, and then the bank will earn another 2% or 1% in exchange rate and whatnot. which I find is quite expensive to use. WeChat Malaysia has started the limitation of, but it has to tie to a bank card, the debit card, and there's a limitation of only 20,000, something like that. And despite the fact that it said it's launched, I tried to tie and lock, still cannot use, because the local bank is not ready yet. So why I say all this is important to your crypto, because if the banks are not ready, how can your transaction for crypto is ready? And it's interesting, in Japan, some of the courts say it's legal, some say no, but bear in mind, in China, it's illegal for the time being. So as far as the development in ASEAN concerned, we have found that the disparity of the banking system and also disparity of the currency exchange, it will hamper this this digital coin, if I may call it. Because without a same platform, you cannot really transfer, or you cannot really have an equal playing ground. So maybe if you want to do it in Singapore, can, but then you want to extend beyond. We have to find a backbone or a trusted bank to do it.
Yeah, we're running from Singapore, so it's not an issue. Our issue is if we launch into, say, Malaysia, how develop infrastructure, because there's always two types of investors, you know. One who will always chiong one, you know, dive in one, and then the other type is, what are my legal remedies, you know, what happens if you run away, you know, what happens if I cannot redeem, what happens if I send to the wrong address, you know, all these things.
I think in Singapore, I think it has the infrastructure to do it. I would suggest, if Singapore to do it, you have to have a stakeholder for your bank, okay, backed up by a bank, and then use your SIAC as the arbitration center. Or if you want, it has to be used SIAC, because if your bank is in Singapore, well, with all this mechanism, and you would be able to do your business model. But then you will have a problem is whether your bank, your national bank will allow, the regulator is the national bank, right? National bank, whether they will allow foreign funds to come into Singapore to buy your coins. If they're okay, you can, because I know that for a fact that Singapore has always been receptive to new business model and ideas. As long as the mechanism and accountability is there, then you will be able to do it. But I find it the trading, how would you?
So we have a local exchange. We are connected with Bitcoin. They are quite good.
Bitcoin recently has recently shown the drop and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's good.
There has been a lot of some countries has been attacking on Bitcoin and whatnot. So
actually, it's because of the split between Bitcoin Cash and creating the fork of Bitcoin ABC and Bitcoin SB, as Satoshi mentioned. So
whatever it is, you have to be very careful with the sentiments of the governments, of the regulators, policymakers.
That's why I asked you.
As far as Malaysian, my answer is very simple. They don't know. One of the MPs pushing for it last 2 months, but it's still in the workings. Bank Negara, our regulator, is currently against it, but then there's no law to regulate it. The police doesn't know what to do because there's no law to enforce it. So that is the position. But if you want to do it in Singapore, get a bank, get the arbitration center, get the stakeholders to support, then I think it will take off. But the problem is Malaysia transfer money to Singapore, 50,000 ringgit per person. So now we are a bit tight on the exchange and how to transfer money. So this one you have to overcome. And I do not encourage using money changer. Because end of the day, the first thing you go to authority and say that you use money changer, then nobody can help you. Yeah, that's one thing.
Any other questions?
I remember one news that Tun Mahathir said that one race cannot be gathered in one place over a certain population. Yeah. So let's say if you have a foreign city, then he's the investor. What will you advise him to do?
Did you buy
already
first?
Already.
Did you buy first?
I didn't, but many my friends.
Okay. Okay. I think you should be when you want to invest or buy some properties. We always look at the second-hand market value, isn't it? You buy one, either you want to rent it out, you want retail, or you want to have an ROI, or you want to make it when there's always a gap or whatnot. So nowadays, developer, cross-border developer, international developer, they'll tell you, oh, it's like Shenzhen, Hong Kong, 10 times forward and whatnot, blah blah blah. They'll tell you all that. Singapore JB, can you tell me Singapore JB can? So, Forest City has been that selling point as well. They are selling to mostly those who are not coming in to stay. Okay, and after they sell, they say, "Don't worry, I'll rent it out for you." Singaporean want to come and stay in Forest City. No law. So rather, I think most of the buyer who buy Forest City, they are mostly Chinese, and their money, how they come into Malaysia is questionable also. But their SMP is legal. Okay, all their documentation, the agreement is legal. What they did was when they pay, they swipe their credit card in China. So did the money come to Malaysia? I don't know. But the developer is partly in Singapore, Hong Kong, partly in China. What they do, so they ask their purchaser to go to Hong Kong to swipe their credit card. Oh, these Chinese are good. Their black color card is at least worth 1,000 of my black color card. Their one card can strike 100 million. The black color one, the very special one. So they can really buy Ferrari or buy. So the Chinese government has seen this as a threat to their foreign exchange, and there's a lot of problem with money flowing in and out between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. So what happened to the investment? Why Tun Mahathir says that it is not advisable for everyone to be in a one place or one race or all foreigners, because that 20 acres, I think, is a empty city. Yes, it's all sold out, but it's going to be an empty city. What does it do to our economy? If you have in central Singapore 2-3 blocks of very big building owned by foreigners, but it's empty, it's a ghost town. It's also, somebody's paying for maintenance and whatnot, but it's empty. It looks so gloomy, isn't it? So this is one thing why our don't say that. And it is not advisable for all foreigners to stay in one city and one not without proper, I would say, planning. Let's just say one day we have this thing against one country, and it's easy for them to just to bomb there because everyone from China is staying there. Isn't it? We in Malaysia as well, we say there's a security reason. If we have just one place which can be identified as a Chinese city. So did we stop it? Did we say no to it? No, we didn't. Mahathir just say that it would be advisable to change that. But why he said that, I think, not about the business of one, it's more on political reason. That for city and the biggest joint partner, JV partner, is the Johor Sultan. What happened is when the new government came in, he found out that there's about 2,000 acres of land, freehold land, sold to foreign company. So that was one of the biggest concern. As contra to your Madini, you heard of Madini? Madini would be same like your Singapore scheme, where you lease it, you rent it for a long time, but you don't own it. Basically, you lease it for 100 years, you rent it for 100 years, but you don't own it. So it's two different concepts. But forest city is you own it. It's a freehold land. So that's why the new government concern is more about this, because can you imagine a foreign company own the land for perpetually? Okay. Any more? Oh, no. I didn't say don't buy or whatever. You go there, have a look whether it's a thriving business or not. Are you going to rent it out, or are you going to do retail? You should go and have a look at yourself. Don't just because they promise you the sky, right, and then you buy and then you go there, it's an empty city, right? As far as I know, for the Madini scheme, it's supported by the federal government, mostly to cater for Singaporeans to come over and stay at a cheaper rate. I think the cheapest one is 350,000 ringgit. You get about 1,000 square feet, and it's for 100 years. You translate into rental income. Rental is very cheap, right? So that project is different because it's sanctioned by the federal and also the state authority, and it's not an overnight thing. They plan this for some time already, so it is still going to continue, right? Unlike Forestry, it's a one-off sales, and we lost 2,000 acres of land because it's freehold. But Madini is still owned by the local state, so it's two different policies. Okay.
Okay, unfortunately we do not have any more time for a Q&A session now, but the good news is we have prepared some coffee and tea by the corridor. Please help yourself, and we will start session B after 20 minutes of coffee break. Please remember that this is a networking coffee and tea break, so take the time to meet our speaker and also the panelists who will be sitting in for session B later on. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.